Hello friends, welcome to Step Up Academy. So in Step Up Academy, we have started with a UPSC Prelims PYQ session. In this session, we are going to discuss UPSC Prelims PYQ papers, all the papers of UPSC from 2021 till 2025. So under this initiative, every day I'll be taking 10 questions. So every day I'll be discussing 10 questions. Okay, starting from 2021 till 2025, I'm going to start with 10 questions every day. So only 10 questions, not more than that. So in this, I'm going to explain you how to solve the questions as well and how to not solve some of the questions. Okay. So it is very important that which questions you people should be targeting, because in examination it is not possible to solve all the 100 questions. It becomes very difficult. ठीक है, 100 के 100 100 के 100 क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करोगे बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट चीज हो जाती है. Okay, so you have to restrict yourself on some of the other question. So through my experience, in which I've cleared prelims multiple times. So through my experience, I'm going to also help you understand that which question you should be avoiding. For example, there are a lot of factual questions which are asked wherein you have very limited information, or rather you have no information. So such type of questions you should be avoiding. Then most of the questions, if you talk about in UPSC examination, some of the questions they are on the spot, you have to solve them. For example, out of 100 questions, there will be only 40 questions of which you will be having precise information. Out of 100, only 40% of the questions you will be having very precise information. Then what about the remaining 60 questions? Out of the remaining 60 questions, there will be some 20-25 questions wherein you have to think right on the spot, that how you are going to tackle such question. So through these PYQs, we'll be looking into all those aspects. So without wasting any time further, let's start with all the questions one by one. Okay. So let's start with 2021 paper. First 10 questions. Okay, so I'll be discussing in Hindi and English. Okay, so Hindi paper, English paper. First question, if you look at, consider the following statements. The governor of Reserve Bank of India is appointed by the central government. Yes, this is absolutely correct. We all know that the governor of the Reserve Bank of India is appointed by the central government, and he or she is usually appointed for a term of 4 years. ठीक है, तो 4 साल टर्म होता है. 4 साल के लिए आपको क्या होता है, एक आरबीआई का गवर्नर अपॉइंट किया जाता है. ठीक है, so this is correct. Then certain provisions in the Constitution of India give central government the right to issue directions to public in to RBI in public interest. Okay. Constitution. Have you ever read in while reading any polity book? Have you ever read about RBI as a body? Ever read? No. Okay. So in Constitution, never ever in Constitution it is never, at no place it is mentioned about RBI. Okay. So the Constitution does not talk about the RBI. So the Constitution of India doesn't give any power to the central government with respect to giving directions. Okay. So if you are eliminating option 2, eliminate option 2, you directly get the answer. Even if you are not aware about the third question, then also you can solve this particular thing. Okay, the governor of RBI draws his or her power from the RBI Act. So even if you're not aware from where the governor is drawing his or her power, then also you'll be able to solve by elimination. Okay, because in constitution, while studying the constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies, you never would have heard about the RBI. Okay, so through elimination you can solve this particular question. Then next question we have, with reference to casual workers employed in India, consider the following statement. Now this particular question was asked with respect to casual workers. Now just imagine you are reading current affairs every day, you are reading a number of books every day. Okay, but what about such type of questions where you find very limited information? Now, I'm pretty sure whatever current affairs resources that you have used, you won't find exact precise information to such type of question. Casual workers employed in India, gig workers that we call as gig workers, casual workers, gig workers that we call as, which are engaged in different types of economy. Okay, Zepto, delivery services and all. Okay, so we have a number of people working in that. Then we have some people working as gig worker in freelancing as well. Okay, in different IT sectors as well. So such type of gig workers which are employed. So the question is basically about them casual workers employed in India. Now, in which book you are going to read, or in which current affair you are going to read about this information? All casual workers are entitled for employees provident fund coverage. All casual workers. We all know that casual workers, they are facing some kind or the other kind of issues. So government is consistently trying to give them some or the other social benefits, some or the other social benefits. So yes, if we talk about all casual workers, now can, if the government wants to provide employees provident fund, the government, if they want to provide employee provident fund, they will be providing to all the casual workers. They cannot segregate in between some people. Let's say for example, they are saying, okay, the delivery guys which are working as a food delivery agents and all, they will be having separate kind of employee provident fund. Those working in some other field, let's say for example IT sector gig worker, so they are having some other kind of, they cannot segregate according to this. Okay, so they will be providing it to all. Yes, it is a very general statement. In even in case in examination, if you are not aware, all casual workers, they cannot segregate in between the casual workers. So yes, it is correct. Then second, we have all casual workers are entitled for regular working hours and overtime payment. All casual workers. Can they here again segregate? Can they again segregate? नहीं यार, ये कैजुअल वर्कर कोई अलग काम करता है, ये सिर्फ दिन भर बाहर घूमने का काम करता है, एक कैजुअल वर्कर है वो कहीं डेस्क पे बैठ के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे वगैरह काम कर रहा है. नो, दे कैनॉट सेग्रीगेट. सो दिस आल्सो हैज टू बी ऑल. Then the government can, by a notification, specify that an establishment or an industry shall pay wages only through its bank account. Shall pay wages only through its bank account. The government can now try to identify such kind of words. Try to identify such kinds of words. What word do I see over here? Can. So the government can. Okay, can by a notification. Is it given the government must by a notification? Is it given must over there? No, they can. Government, whenever they want, they can by a notification. They can bring about a notification. So try to understand the statement very thoroughly. Okay, try to find out for such kind of keywords. Try to find for such keywords. Can. Yes, the government can. Whether they have done it or not, I am not concerned with that. But can the government do? Yes, they can do. Okay, fine. So all the statements here are correct. Okay, so try to find for such words in your question paper. Whenever you find such kind of words, most of the time, 99% of the time, such kind of statements will be correct. Okay, yes, can, anyone can. Okay, then third question, which among the following which among the following steps is most likely to be taken at the time of an economic recession? Economic recession. Okay, so the economy is going down. Fine. So cut in tax rates accompanied by increase in interest rate. Okay, the economy is going in recession. That is, people are not purchasing a lot of goods. Okay, the manufacturing activity, it has come down to a bit. Then what you do? You cut the tax rate. So if you are cutting the tax rate, people will have lot of money. Okay, you have cut the tax rate. People will have money. People will have money and they will go on to purchase the things, and the economy will again come or be uplifted out of recession. Fine. But what is second statement saying? Increase in interest rate. Now, just imagine you have cut people's tax rate. Fine. Now, I want to purchase a house and I want to take a home loan from the bank. The government has cut my tax rates and I'm like, चलो यार मेरे पास पैसा बच गया. ठीक है, मेरे पास पैसा बच गया, मैं अब घर खरीदता हूँ, बट मेरे पास पैसा लिमिटेड है, मैं बैंक में जाके लोन ले लेता हूँ. बट बैंक में जाके लोन लेने गया तो वहां पे देखा तो यार there has been an increase in the interest rate. Then what will I do? I will again postpone my decision. So this becomes incorrect. Then increase in expenditure on public projects. ठीक है, for example, let's say for example a public project, let's say a flyover. The government wants to build a flyover. So what the government will do? The government will come up with a contract. It will come up with a contract. It will hand over the contract to some contractor. The contractor will have laborers with him or her. Okay. Then that laborers will be engaged. They will be getting their wages and all. So because of their wages, their entire family will run. Then their expenditure will increase and all. So if a government or if the economy is in recession, then the government has to increase expenditure on public projects. The government has to increase expenditure on public projects. So B is correct over here. Let's look for other options as well. Increase in tax rate. Okay, again, increase in tax rate. Now first you are cutting tax rate, now you are saying increase in tax rate. If you are increasing the tax rate, I won't be having money. Okay, so this becomes incorrect. Then reduction of expenditure on public projects. So if there is a reduction of public expenditure, then people, those who are getting government contracts and all, people those who are employed at the contractors and all, they won't be getting salary. If they won't get salary, they won't purchase things. So again, the economy will go down. So the correct answer here is option B. Okay, third option B. Fine. Then next, fourth, we have consider the following statement. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand of a good might increase. Market demand of a good might increase. Price of its substitute increases. ठीक है, मार्केट डिमांड ऑफ अ गुड माइट इंक्रीज, किसकी वजह से बढ़ सकता है, ठीक है, डिमांड बढ़ सकता है, ठीक है, प्राइस ऑफ इट्स सब्स्टिट्यूट गुड. लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल, I am every day in the morning for the breakfast I am eating Kellogg's cornflakes and all. ठीक है, so Kellogg's is a very branded thing. ठीक है, Kellogg's it is a branded stuff. I am eating cornflakes of it. ठीक है, but I have a substitute good of it. I have a substitute good. Let's say Kellogg's की जगह पे कोई local company है, local company, let's say ABC. It is also producing cornflakes. It is also producing cornflakes. ठीक है. Now it is a substitute company. It is producing substitute goods of the same thing, same cornflakes I am getting, but the ABC company, it is a local company and its price is little bit cheap. ठीक है, ये local company है किसी, its price is cheap. Kellogg's, let's say it's branded and its price is high. ठीक है, its price is high. ठीक है, brand name है वगैरह, अच्छे अच्छे qualities वगैरह हो गए इसमें, that's it is high, but its substitute price is cheap. Now price of the substitute increases. Now let's imagine this substitute good ABC company का जो cheap cornflakes वगैरह था, सस्ता था, now suddenly its prices has also increased. Let's say this cornflakes packet I was getting for 100 rupees and this cornflakes packet I was getting for 60 rupees. Now the price of the substitute good, or you can say a little bit lower variety good, its price has increased from 60, it went to 80. It went to 80. Now what will I think? यार 80 में किसी सस्ती कंपनी का खरीदने से अच्छा मैं 100 रुपए में ब्रांडेड है जिसका प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू वगैरह दिया गया है, सो आई विल गो फॉर इट, आई विल गो विद द ब्रांडेड वन. ठीक है, सो other things remaining unchanged, market demand of a good might increase if price of the substitute good is increasing. If price of the substitute good has increased, then definitely the market demand of this will automatically increase. Okay, because substitute good initially I was buying it because it was very cheap. ठीक है, न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू वगैरह कम हो, but it was very cheap, 60 रुपए में मिल रहा, but now it has gone to 80. I am saying ये difference बहुत कम है अभी, तो 20 रुपए के लिए क्यों स्विच करूं, 20 रुपए के लिए आई बाय परचेस द बेटर वन. ओके, देन प्राइस ऑफ इट्स कॉम्प्लीमेंट increases. Price of its complement, let's try to understand this aspect. ठीक है, price of its complement increases. Let's say for example you have purchased a vehicle, you have purchased a vehicle, you have purchased a petrol vehicle or diesel vehicle, any fossil fuel. ठीक है, you have purchased a vehicle which is running on petrol. Okay, you have purchased a vehicle which is running on petrol. Now the price of the petrol has increased. Now the price of the petrol has increased. Price of its complementary good. So it is necessary. Petrol is complementary and it is necessary for this. So let's say petrol is necessary for running the vehicle. Price of the petrol has increased. So what people will do? People will be like, यार प्राइस तो इसका बढ़ गया, अब मैं क्या करूं, मैं इससे अच्छा क्या कर लेता हूँ, मैं पेट्रोल की व्हीकल छोड़ देता हूँ, आई वोंट परचेज द पेट्रोल व्हीकल, आई विल गो विद ईवी. ठीक है, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में फ्यूल वगैरह नहीं लगता, चार्जिंग वगैरह करने में. सो रादर देन गोइंग विद द पेट्रोल व्हिच इज कॉम्प्लीमेंटरी नेसेसरी फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर व्हीकल गुड, आई विल गो विद द ईवी. So in that case, if the price of the complement is increasing, the demand of this good is decreasing. So two option becomes incorrect. Two option becomes incorrect. ठीक है, because the price of the complement good, if it is increasing, then that in that case the demand of this particular good will decrease. ठीक है, so let's try to work upon elimination. Always try to directly jump to the elimination. So 2 गया, ठीक है, 2 गया, 2 गया, ठीक है, so I know 1 is absolutely correct. Let's look for 3. The good is an inferior good and the income of the consumers increases. ठीक है, the good is an inferior good. Let's take again the same example, Kellogg's cornflakes, ठीक है, and ABC company cornflakes. ठीक है, द गुड इज इंफीरियर बट इट वॉज प्रेजेंट एट अ वेरी चीप. ठीक है, ये 60 रुपए में मिल रहा था, वी आर गेटिंग एट 60, हियर वी आर गेटिंग इट एट 100. नाउ द पीपल इनकम हैज इंक्रीज, द गुड इज इंफीरियर एंड इनकम ऑफ कंज्यूमर हैज. नाउ लेट्स से इंफीरियर गुड, आपका इनकम बढ़ गया, इफ योर सैलरी हैज इंक्रीज्ड, इफ योर सैलरी हैज इंक्रीज्ड, then if your salary increases, automatically your standard of living increases. You automatically start thinking of good nutritional goods for consumption. So if your salary is increasing, you will stop buying these things. If your salary is increasing, obviously you people will be going for reaching for branded things. ठीक है, तो जैसे ही सैलरी बढ़ने शुरू हो जाती है, धीरे धीरे पहले लोकल रास्ते के कपड़े वगैरह खरीदते थे, ठीक है, now suddenly our salary has increased, now suddenly we start buying from shops, we start buying branded goods. ठीक है, so the good is an inferior good and income of the consumer increases. ठीक है, so income of the consumer increases, in that we go on to buy a good quality. In that case we go on to buy a branded things. ठीक है, so good is an inferior, so in that case we won't be buying the inferior goods. Good is an inferior good, income of the consumer increases, but we won't be going for the inferior goods. We won't be going for inferior goods. We will be going for better goods. We will be going for branded goods, and because of our income has increased. Then next is if its price fall. If any goods price fall, people tend to buy more. ठीक है, किसी भी चीज की कीमत कम होती है तो we tend to buy more. ठीक है, so here more precise, if you go with the options, we have price of its substitute increases. ठीक है, price of its substitute increases, then what we do, we go for the best one. Then price, if its price falls, then also in that case we will go with the best one. Okay, so do remember these aspects. Okay, you have to remember economy few concepts. Next we have question number 5. ठीक है. Okay, so next question 5. With reference to urban cooperative banks in India, consider the following statements. They are supervised and regulated by local boards set up by the state government. If I talk about the cooperative banks, okay, so cooperative banks, they are under dual regulation. Okay, they are under dual regulation, and in dual regulation, if I talk about, they are also regulated by the RBI. And specifically, if I talk about the banking operations, in that case they are regulated by the RBI. So they are not regulated by the local boards set up by the state government, not regulated by the local boards. Okay, so always if you have eliminated the one option, then immediately go for looking for the statements. Okay, one you are eliminating, C gone, gone. Okay, so you are left with only B, 2 and 3. Okay, so they can, again if you see over here, the word is can. They can issue equity share and preferences. They can, whether you know, even if you're, let's say nowadays people say that elimination technique does not work. Let's say even in that case, if the elimination technique is not working, here what we see, they can issue. Obviously they can है, भाई बराबर ही होगा. They were brought under the purview of the Banking Regulation Act 1949 through an amendment in 1966. ठीक है, 1960. किसको पता 1966 में क्या हुआ था, क्या हो रहा, किसको पता. ठीक है, so in that case, if you are going with the elimination, then only you can easily solve such type of question. And no doubt in 2023 the elimination technique didn't work, but if you talk about 24 and 25 year as well, what we see, the elimination technique, again the UPSC has restored these aspects. You have to just identify the proper statements. Okay, so they are not regulated by the local boards, they are regulated by the RBI. Fifth question goes with B. Okay, then sixth we have Indian government bond yields are influenced by which of the following? Indian government bond yields are influenced by which of the following? ठीक है, बॉन्ड यील्ड्स किससे इन्फ्लुएंस है? एक्शंस ऑफ द यूनाइटेड स्टेट फेडरल रिजर्व. सो यूनाइटेड स्टेट का जो सेंट्रल बैंक है, सो इफ द फेडरल रिजर्व, इफ दे आर टेकिंग अंडरटेकिंग एनी एक्शन, इफ दे आर इंक्रीजिंग द रेट्स और इफ दे आर डिक्रीजिंग द रेट्स, वी फाइंड changes in our Indian market as well. Okay, so changes do take place in Indian market, as a result of which actions of the United States, yes, they have a effect, or they have an impact on the bond yields of India. Then actions of the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, yes, the Reserve Bank of India, if it is changing some of the other rates, if it is changing, it is causing a lot of volatility into the market. What we see, the impact on the government bond yields. Okay, then next what we have, inflation and short-term interest rate. If there is a lot of inflation in the market, then in that case as well, what we see, impact on the government bond yields. For example, if you talk about the US bond yield, if I talk about US government bond yields, they have fallen into negative since the last couple of years. Okay, the bond yield, the returns of the US bond, it is decreasing consistently, as a result of which what we see, that a lot of US economy is in trouble. That's why it is causing trouble into the entire world. Okay, so inflation and short-term interest rates, they do have an impact on the government bond yields. So here all the statements are correct, or every action has an impact on the bond yields. Okay, then next we have, consider the seventh question. Consider the following: foreign currency convertible bonds, foreign institution in investment in certain conditions, global depository receipt, non-resident external deposits. Which of the above can be included in FDI? Okay, FDI. So FDI is an investment which is creating some kind of an asset and which is quite beneficial for the economy in the long term. Okay, in the long term, if I talk about, FDI is always good for any country. As a result of which, what we see, most of the sectors in India, we are now accepting FDI on a great scale. We have done liberalization, and as a result of which, we find a lot of FDI investments. Okay, so let's try to understand these aspects. Foreign currency convertible bond, foreign currency convertible bonds. For example, let's say there is a company XYZ. Okay, and this XYZ company, it wants to raise investment. It wants to bring in investment in India for further growth. So if this company wants to raise money from the market, from the international market, it will be issuing some bonds. It will be issuing some bonds. Now, people in other country, they probably might not be interested in rupees bond. They will be like, we want bonds in our own currency, and those bonds should be easily convertible. Those bonds should be easily convertible. So if they are ready to invest in Indian company, they will be like, okay, we are ready to invest in your company for a long term, but we want convertible foreign currency convertible bonds. We will be investing in your company. Let's say I'm providing you in money in rupees, but when I want to exit, I want those to be converted into my home currency. Let's say it is euro, pound, yen, jo bhi hai. Okay, I want it to be converted because I don't want to suffer from the exchange rate. Okay, exchange rate, we know that exchange rate of India, it is consistently declining. So they don't want to be suffer from the exchange rate. So they will be like, we want foreign currency convertible bond. Yes, this is correct. Then second, foreign institution investment with certain conditions. In India, we have National Institution of Infrastructure Fund. Okay, National Investment Infrastructure Fund. National Investment Infrastructure Fund. Okay, so most of the foreign institutions like Asian Development Bank we have, okay, then Asian Infrastructure, Asian Investment and Infrastructure Funds we have. Okay, so these different institutions, then Saudi government, वगैरह. So most of the foreign governments, they do invest in our country. They do invest in such kinds of funds, and that is fund. Those funds are invested for a long period of time. They are not like investing for a 1 or 2 day. They are investing for a long period of time. So foreign institution investment with certain conditions, obviously there are certain conditions, so they are investing for a long period of time. So this is also correct. Then, as I've said, XYZ company, it might be issuing bonds in the international market. Those bonds should be easily convertible into the foreign currency. Then third aspect is the global depository receipt. Now let's say this XYZ company, it wants the foreign people to invest into India, but they don't want to issue any bond. They will be like, okay, I'll issue shares, I'll issue some shares, and I want some foreign companies to purchase those shares, foreign companies or foreign individuals to purchase those shares. So this company will go to any XYZ, any ABC bank. It will go to any bank, and it will give its share to this bank. It will give its shares to its bank, and it will say that what you do, you list my shares into some foreign stock exchange. You list my shares into some foreign stock exchange. So from there, individuals will purchase. Okay, here bonds are purchased by, usually they are purchased by some of the other institutions. Okay, now in India, even the individuals can purchase government bonds and all. Okay, we have a Kuber platform for that. Okay, but if I talk about companies, what they do, they was like, okay, I want foreign individuals also to purchase my shares. So in that case, what they will do, they will give their shares to certain bank. Okay, that bank will be issuing the global depository receipts. They will be issuing global depository receipt, and they will list those shares into some or the other foreign stock exchange. So in this case as well, the investment is a type of a FDI. Okay, it is also a type of a FDI. Okay, foreign direct investment. Okay. Then fourth, we have the non-resident external deposits. Non-resident external deposits. These are external deposits people can take their deposits whenever they want. Okay, a foreign individual, they usually invest into India. Most of the NRIs and all, they do their FD and savings in Indian banks. Why do they do so? Because if you go to foreign banks, their fixed deposit का जो interest rate वगैरह रहेगा, there the fixed deposit interest rate is hardly 2 to 3%. Whereas if I talk about India, in India the fixed deposit interest rate is somewhere around 7 to 8%. ठीक है, 7 to 8% you are getting interest rate, fixed deposit interest rate in India. Whereas in foreign countries that is hardly 2 to 3%. So the non-resident external deposits, they are deposits. They are not doing any kind of foreign investments. They are not doing investment into any particular company which will help in running the economy. They are simply depositing their money in any particular, any specific bank, and which they under certain conditions can take out the money at any time whenever they wish so. Okay, so this all becomes wrong over here. So the correct answer is 1, 2 and 3. Then next 8th question. Okay. Consider the following statement. The effect of devaluation of a currency is that it necessarily, ठीक है, if you are devaluing your currency. Let's say for example, India का exchange rate dollar के साथ चल रहा है 100 rupees. ठीक है, 100 rupees, and India is purposefully devaluing its currency, and India is saying now $1 is equal to, let's say, rupees 110. ठीक है, so India is purposefully devaluing its currency. As a result of this devaluation, what happens? Usually the exports in India increases. For example, if I talk about China has a regular habit of devaluing its own currency, because Chinese economy is mostly an export driven economy, so it purposefully devalues its currency on its own. As a result of which, what happens, it is able to export more and more goods, because the foreign people, what they used to get in $1, 100 rupees goods that they used to get, in the same $1 now they are getting goods worth of 110 rupees. Okay, so foreign people, or let's say people in USA, in $1 they used to get 100 rupees goods. In the same $1 now they are getting goods of 110 rupees. Okay, so usually this devaluation of currency, usually it necessarily helps in the export sector. It necessarily helps in the export sector. Okay, so improves the competitiveness of the domestic exports in the foreign markets. Yes, it improves the competitiveness of domestic exports in the foreign markets. It increases the foreign value of domestic currency. It increases the foreign value of domestic currency. कोई मतलब नहीं, ठीक है, nothing, ठीक है, foreign value is same, foreign value remains same. It improves the trade balance. Now if export is increasing, if my export is increasing, will it actually improve my trade balance? Has it talked about anything about the import? This devaluation of currency, it usually helps the export sector. Necessarily it helps the export sector. Yes, that's fine, but it doesn't help the import. For example, I talk about India. India is a country which is highly dependent on import of crude oil. ठीक है, let's say energy resources, 85% of our energy resources are coming from foreign countries. ठीक है, now Iran war has started, so Strait of Hormuz has been blocked. So India's energy security is in deep risk now. Okay, no doubt we do have a sufficient reserves. We have sufficient reserves of crude oil that without even import we can survive for next 6 months. ठीक है, 6 7 months. But this doesn't help. This doesn't help. Devaluation of currency doesn't talk about the import. It does help the export, but it doesn't talk about the import thing. So it improves the trade balance? No. So here the answer is 1 only. Okay. Then next question. Okay. 9 question. Which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry to the government of India? ठीक है, ब्लैक मनी जनरेशन से क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है? डाइवर्जन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज टू द परचेस ऑफ रियल एस्टेट एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट इन लग्जरी हाउसिंग. ओके, सो व्हेनेवर पीपल गेट black money, what they do, first of all they invest in real estate. ठीक है, then they go on to purchase luxury housing. Yes, this is true, but the problem is that now the government has made most of the things very strict. ठीक है, we have Benami Transaction Act and all. Okay, so Benami Property Act and all. So because of that, this diversion of resources into real estate and investment in luxury housing, this has become little bit risky. This has become little bit risky. No doubt, people do. Yes, it's fine. Then investment in unproductive activities and purchase of precious stones, jewelry, and gold. Okay, so whenever people get black money, they usually go on to purchase stones, jewelry, and gold. We find most of the people wearing gold in their gold rings in their all fingers and all. Okay, so to some extent, yes, it's correct. Large donations to political parties and growth of regionalism. Okay, so whenever people get black money, we find in order to save themselves, what they do, they do large donation to political parties in order to avoid CBI and ED raids. Okay, so large donations to political parties and growth of regionalism, yes, to some extent this is also correct. Then loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. Now see, all these things, they are happening in India, no doubt, but you people are preparing for administrative examination. These things, these are लोकल लैंग्वेजेस, ठीक है, these are local languages. ये चाय की टपरी पे ये अच्छे लगते हैं बोलना. Okay, but you people are preparing for a serious administrative services. Then in that case, you have to think about the government. So because of the black money, usually what we have the loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. No doubt, you'll find all the statements are correct, but the more precise statement here is the loss of revenue to the government. Loss of revenue to the government, because obviously if you are investing black money into a certain property, people will devalue their property. They let the property is of 60 lakh, they will devalue below 30 lakh in order to avoid taxes and all. Okay, so you have to choose the correct answer. The correct answer here goes with D. Okay, then 10th question, which one of the following is likely to be most inflationary in its effect? Most inflationary, read the statements very very carefully. Most inflationary, ठीक है, रीपेमेंट ऑफ पब्लिक डेट. रीपेमेंट ऑफ पब्लिक डेट. लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल गवर्नमेंट हैज अ लॉट ऑफ पब्लिक डेट. गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर, सरकार के ऊपर भी बहुत सारा कर्जा वगैरह रहता है. तो सरकार क्या कर रही है भाई, वो कर्जा जो है उसका, लेट्स से उसने वर्ल्ड बैंक से कर्जा लिया था. ठीक है, गवर्नमेंट हैज टेकन लोन फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड बैंक एंड दैट इज पब्लिक डेट. ठीक है, दैट इज पब्लिक डेट एंड गवर्नमेंट हैज रीपेड दैट लोन टू द वर्ल्ड बैंक. भाई पैसा हमसे चला गया एंड विल इट कॉज एनी इन्फ्लेशन? नो, बिकॉज पैसा तो हमसे चला गया. लोगों के पास पैसा है क्या? नहीं. सो इट वोंट कॉज एनी इन्फ्लेशन. बोरोइंग फ्रॉम द पब्लिक टू फाइनेंस बजट डेफिसिट. अगेन इन दिस केस, बोरोइंग फ्रॉम द पब्लिक, लोगों से पैसा ले लिया जा रहा है by issuing government bonds and all. Okay, so by borrowing from the public, गवर्नमेंट से पैसा, पब्लिक से पैसा चला गया, so पब्लिक के पास पैसा खर्चा करने के लिए ही नहीं है, तो इन्फ्लेशन कहां से बढ़ेगा? इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ेगा ही नहीं. इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ेगा ही नहीं. बोरोइंग फ्रॉम द बैंक्स टू फाइनेंस बजट डेफिसिट. ठीक है, बैंक से पैसा ले लिया, यू आर बोरिंग फ्रॉम द बैंक, यू हैव टेकन मनी फ्रॉम द बैंक. नाउ फ्रॉम वेयर द बैंक विल लेंड? I want to purchase a house, I want to take a home loan from the bank. Okay, but the bank doesn't have sufficient money, so I will delay my this purchasing home. Okay, I'll delay my purchasing of my home. So again, the money is not with the public. Then creation of new money to finance the budget deficit. You are creating new money to finance the budget deficit. This is most inflation. ठीक है, यू आर प्रिंटिंग न्यू नोट्स, यू आर प्रिंटिंग न्यू नोट्स टू फाइनेंस बजट डेफिसिट. ठीक है, दिस इज द मोस्ट इन्फ्लेशनरी थिंग. ठीक है, क्रिएशन ऑफ न्यू मनी टू फाइनेंस बजट डेफिसिट, दिस इज द मोस्ट इन्फ्लेशनरी थिंग इन एनी market. Okay, so remember this thing with respect to the questions. Most of the questions are related to economy. Okay, there are some tricks which questions you have to attempt, which questions you have to avoid. These are economy questions. They were a little bit conceptual, and you have to have a little bit of understanding with respect to these concepts. Okay, so go through these questions very thoroughly, try to revise these concepts. Okay, some of them are very important, but from this 10 question analysis, what we understand, which is the most important topic of economy section that I understand, that is the money supply. ठीक है, money supply is very very important topic of your economy. You have to do this particular topic very very thoroughly. Whatever sources that you are referring to, stick to your sources, don't run for any new resources now. Okay, stick to your own sources, and money supply is a very important topic. Go through it very very thoroughly. ठीक है, so this was 10 question for today. We'll continue with next 10 questions tomorrow. Okay, I don't want to burden you people with lot of questions in one go. 10 questions करेंगे every day. 10 questions will be sufficient. We'll be taking 10 questions every day, so 50 days में सारा पांच पेपर हम खत्म करेंगे. ठीक है, चलेगा. Okay, thank you.